Mercimek köftesi nasıl yapılıyor? Did I say that correctly? I really hope so. Benim Türkçe anlamadım var mı? Hopefully that was somewhat correct. Hi everyone! Welcome to another day cooking with me. Got another awesome recipe for you guys. It's mercimek köftesi, which is also called lentil meatballs. It's a Turkish recipe. To pay homage to my time I spent in Turkey. I lived there for about a year and it was fantastic. The food, the people, the culture, it was just an amazing experience. And one small piece of that experience was eating these lentil meatballs. I love lentil meatballs because they're easy, they're healthy, and fun fact, I realized this when I was writing the ingredients list, but they're vegetarian as well as vegan, so inclusive for everybody. Well, maybe not the gluten-free people. Before I get going in this recipe, I want to give a huge shout out to my two beloved aunties, Auntie Sybil and Auntie Marianne. All my aunties are awesome, but Auntie Sybil and Auntie Marianne made my Goya champurrado recipe and sent me pictures of it, which is so cool. So shout out to you guys. I love you too. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't enjoy it, well, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's get into the recipe. So first off, you'll need red lentils. So these are my red lentils. I get them in bulk from Big John's PFI. If you live in the Seattle area and you need things like any kind of grain, lentils, spices in bulk, Big John's PFI is the place to go. It's just got the best deals and it's awesome. But yeah, so these are my lentils. Lentils are almost iconic in Turkey. They're just so popular. They're in a lot of different meals and a lot of different soups. It's incredible, but at least in my experience, you can find like the same two lentil soups, ezogelin çorbası and mercimek çorbası, everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. It's like all of the restaurants are being pumped the same lentil soup from the same massive lentil soup factory. It's incredible, the consistency. Not to mention the deliciousness. I'm going to add 1 cup of lentils into my pot, and this is going to be a one-pot meal. And to that, I'm going to add about 3 cups of water, maybe a little bit more. I turned up the heat, so I'm going to wait for it to start boiling before I turn it down to simmer and wait for the lentils to break down. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare my chili peppers. I love cooking food with a little bit of spice in it, so whenever I want to add some spice to my cooking, I always go to my trusty bag of chili peppers. I've been working out of this bag of dried chili peppers for a while now. I just throw in 2, 3, 4, 10, depending on the size of whatever I'm cooking. They don't really have much of a flavor. They just add spice, which is perfect. I think this entire bag, it was like up to here when I first got it. I think it was only $5. It lasts a long time. So I've got 4 chili peppers. And I'm just gonna put them in this plastic baggie to crush them. I could chop them, but sometimes the seeds just go flying. Gets messy. We're just crushing over here. That is sufficiently crushed. So I'm gonna add that into the pot of boiling lentils. I'll save my plastic baggie for later. I've been using the same plastic baggie to crush peppers for a while now. Next, I'm going to add to the cooking lentils the salsa, or tomato paste. Basically, salsa is the key ingredient in Turkish food. Pretty much every Turkish restaurant that you go to, you'll notice that most of the food is red. And that's because tomato paste is the base to almost all Turkish food. Well, maybe not all, but like a lot of Turkish food. So much so that when you go to the grocery stores in Turkey, you'll see these massive tubs of tomato paste, like an entire, like think about the bread aisle in American grocery stores, like that size, but for tomato paste. It's a lot of tomato paste. I do cook Turkish food pretty often, but not often enough that I can have one of those giant tubs of tomato paste and just keep working out of it. So what I do when I open up a can of tomato paste, because it goes bad pretty quickly, is that I freeze it. I freeze it in about like 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoon little balls, depending on what I think I'll be cooking next. And then I can just easily drop it in whatever I'm cooking later. It works pretty well. Here, for example, is a little tomato paste turd. It's about 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna throw it in. So the lentils will take about 20 minutes to break down. You're just looking for a... Nope, no baby, nope. So the lentils will take about 20 minutes to break down, and you're looking for a soupy consistency, basically broken down completely. While those are cooking, I'm going to tell you about one of the things that I loved about living in Turkey. I lived in Istanbul on the Boğaziçi River on the European side. Within like 5 minutes walking distance was this awesome restaurant, and this restaurant was literally just a hole in the wall. You just walk in and there was a counter, and at that counter there was a display case, and in that display case was about 6 to 7 different casserole dishes of different kind of Turkish foods. Different like Turkish mothers would make these dishes and then bring them all to this little hole in the wall, and residents nearby could just stop in and then order 2 or 3, 4 or 5 different scoops of whatever Turkish dish they wanted, which I thought was awesome, because what that meant is that you got super high quality, delicious home cooking food basically at the convenience of fast food. That was the equivalence of going through the drive-thru at McDonald's, except you were getting an awesome home-cooked meal. And so I love that. I wish that was something Seattle had. I've never seen that here. Usually you have to pick 2 of the 3. Do you want cheap food? Do you want like good quality, healthy food? Or do you want quick, convenient food? Usually you have to pick 2. You can't have all 3 at once. But in Turkey, you can have all 3 at once. Tangent for the day. I'm adding a little bit more water because the lentils look a little bit too dry. In preparation for my next steps, I made sure to chop up lots of green onion. Ooh. No, green onion down. And some parsley leaves. Those are both going to go into the lentil meatballs. So sometimes lentil meatballs will be cooked with red pepper paste as well as tomato paste. I have not really seen red pepper paste in the store, or if I did, it didn't really look like the kind that I remember seeing in Turkey. Didn't taste like it either. And so instead, I roasted up an onion and red bell pepper. So I think that's going to be yummy. Definitely add some sweetness to the lentil meatballs. I'll enter a little cooking montage of my red pepper onion here.
I give him all my love. That's all I do. And if you saw my love, you'd love him too.
Okay, the lentils are ready for the next step now. They've broken down, and so I'm ready to add my bulgur. Usually bulgur goes into lentil meatballs, but I actually don't have enough bulgur today. Very sad amount. So instead, I'm going to use couscous. This kind. It looks like this. I'm going to take the lentils off the heat and then add 3/4 of a cup about to just soak up the remaining water. At this point, the water isn't fully soaked up, so I'm going to add my seasonings. I'm going to add these red peppers and onions that I roasted earlier. And next, the green onions, and hopefully it'll be cooled down enough at that point that I can add the parsley, and the parsley won't just wilt immediately. Last thing to do is plate it. This is a piece of china from a china set that my nana gave to me. My papa had actually brought it back for her from Japan. Very pretty. I think it's going to be a great plate for my lentil meatballs. So I washed some lettuce earlier. You might actually be able to see it back there. And I'm just going to put the lentil meatballs on the lettuce. Like this. A little lentil meatball boat. So this is what you do. You have your lentils and your romaine lettuce, and then you just pour some lemon juice on top, and then you eat it. Super good. Alright, I'm gonna feed them to Zach and see what he thinks. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you make them.